All right, today we're going to walk through a core argument from our new book, The Modern Art of War. And it's all about an idea that is fundamentally reshaping conflict as we speak. It's built around the surprising, powerful return of a very old concept: quantity. This is a shift that seriously challenges decades of military thinking. Everything, and I mean everything, we're about to discuss really hinges on this one single idea, this modern maxim, that a swarm of inexpensive, coordinated systems can actually overwhelm a really sophisticated, really expensive force. This isn't just a theory anymore, it's a reality that's playing out on battlefields right now. So, to really get why this new reality is so disruptive, we first have to look back. We need to understand the philosophy it's completely turning on its head. For decades, you see, the world's most advanced militaries have made a very specific bet on what it takes to win wars. And that bet, what we call the old wager, was pretty straightforward. You invest in quality over quantity. The idea was to build fewer but far superior platforms. We're talking better stealth, better sensors, better missiles. The whole focus was on elegant, exquisite power. But the new reality? It isn't about single platforms at all. It's about having more coordinated systems that are designed to create relentless, grinding pressure. So what changed? Well, the very nature of quantity itself. We're not talking about just throwing more bodies or more raw steel at a problem in the old-fashioned sense. This is something different, something new. Cheap, numerous systems are no longer just scattered, dumb tools on the battlefield. And that brings us right to this concept of the swarm. Now, I want you to forget the sci-fi image of perfectly synchronized killer robots. That's not what we're talking about. The reality is actually much cruder and, frankly, way more effective. A swarm is simply a coordinated mass of cheap systems that arrive together to just overwhelm a defender. The whole point is to overload their sensors, complicate their decisions, and ultimately punch holes in their defenses. And right here, this is the turning point. The ability of cheap systems to network and coordinate with each other, that's the real game changer. You see, when mass learns how to talk to itself, it stops behaving like a collection of individual objects and starts acting more like a single hunting organism. This new capability completely rewrites the rules of engagement. It fundamentally changes the arithmetic of defense, and it forces us to rethink how we calculate everything: risk, cost, and even what it means to win an engagement. And here's the crucial thing to understand about this. The success of a swarm isn't measured by whether every single unit hits its target. Not at all. Some drones in the swarm are just there to be seen, right? To force a defender to react. Others are there just to be a threat, making them waste precious resources. And some are there just to make the defender spend money. They do not all need to hit to succeed. And this is where you can see the brutal math of this cost asymmetry. Think about it. An attacker sends a drone that costs maybe a few $1,000s. To shoot it down, the defender has to fire an interceptor that can cost hundreds of thousands, maybe even millions of dollars. The moment that trade happens, the attacker has already started winning the economic battle. This puts incredible pressure not just on your inventory of missiles, but on your operator's attention and the whole tempo of the fight. And really, that's the ultimate takeaway. This isn't just about raw numbers anymore. Coordinated mass transforms. It stops being simple quantity, and it becomes a constant, grinding strategic pressure that can exhaust even the most technologically advanced military power on Earth. Okay, but here's where we have to be careful, because this new paradigm of cheap mass creates its own set of really dangerous traps. It's so easy to oversimplify this revolution, so it's absolutely crucial that we understand what it does mean and what it doesn't. There are 3 critical mistakes people make that we have to avoid. First, thinking that quality is now irrelevant. It isn't. No way. 1,000 fragile drones with bad software will just get you 1,000 failures. Second, believing that autonomy is some magic bullet that solves the problem of command. It doesn't. It just multiplies your options and your potential for error. And third, and this one is so important, is forgetting the moral weight of these systems. Let's just pause on this for a second. Because a single drone is cheap and expendable, it doesn't make the decision to use it weightless. When you're using thousands of them, the cumulative consequences of all those small decisions can be absolutely enormous. 1,000 cheap decisions can still add up to one massive, strategic, and moral disaster. And all of this leads us to what might be the most important point of all. All this technology, all this mass. At the end of the day, it's just noise without intelligent human direction. The human element, judgment, doctrine, purpose, actually becomes more critical, not less. So leaders have to adapt. It demands a new doctrine. They have to start thinking in cost-exchange ratios, not just kills. They've got to manage these systems like a complex ecosystem, not just a pile of disposable tools. They must resist the temptation to confuse sheer volume with a real strategy. They have to preserve human authority over the why, the purpose of an attack. And finally, they have to build defenses that are designed for density, not just for a few high-end threats. Because, let's be blunt about it, without a clear strategy and a clear purpose driving it, a swarm isn't a weapon. It's just expensive clutter. It might be cheaper per unit, sure, but it's still a total waste of resources if it's not directed intelligently toward a strategic goal. And so that leaves us with the final, decisive question for this new era. It's no longer just about who can build the single best fighter jet or the single best tank. The real challenge is this: who can master the entire cycle? Who can generate mass affordably, coordinate it effectively, absorb the inevitable losses, and, most importantly, keep it all aligned with a clear strategic purpose? The answer to that question, well, that's what's going to define the future of conflict.